if you close your eyes and picture a pawn shop, maybe you get that sort of romanticized image. Dusty, a bit chaotic, full of hidden gems.
Right, like it's somehow outside the usual rules of business.
Exactly. But that image, it's pretty far from the legal reality.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
That secondhand counter isn't some kind of legal free-for-all. It's actually governed by a really, really dense set of regulations.
Absolutely. So today we're diving deep into the legal framework for all this. The Pawnbrokers and Secondhand Dealers Act, 1996, from New South Wales.
And this act, it isn't just about, say, setting interest rates. It's actually a pretty sophisticated tool.
Yeah, it seems designed to police the whole flow of physical goods. It's this interesting mix of consumer protection and actual crime fighting.
It's a major piece of legal work. We're pulling out the key bits from this act as amended right up to August 2024. And it really marked a big shift.
How so?
Well, for context, this 1996 law replaced a bunch of really old ones. I mean, acts going back to 1902 and 1906.
Wow.
So it was a total overhaul. Basically because, modern property crime needed a much stronger, more centralized approach.
Right. Okay, let's start with the basics. The gatekeepers. You can't just, hang up a sign and start taking goods?
No way. That's the first hard stop. You absolutely must have a license to operate as either a pawnbroker or a secondhand dealer. Sections 6 and 7.
No, you don't.
Big penalties, a maximum of 100 penalty units. So right away, the stakes are pretty high.
Okay, so getting the license, I assume it's not just filling out a form.
Definitely not. There's a strict vetting process. The regulator, the secretary, has to be satisfied. You meet the fit and proper person test. That's Section 8.
Fit and proper, okay. You need to be 18, obviously. But what makes someone not fit and proper?
This is where it gets really interesting. The disqualification rules, Section 8A. This is where the act really shows its teeth as an anti-crime tool.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Well, it looks backwards first. If you have a conviction for anything involving dishonesty recorded in the last 10 years, you're generally considered a disqualified person.
Generally. Is there any wiggle room?
A little bit. The secretary can decide to ignore it, maybe if the offense was really minor, or if you've shown really good behavior since. But that's the exception.
Okay, so past honesty is key. What else? Financial stuff.
Yep, financial disqualifiers, too. If you're an undischarged bankrupt, you're out.
Makes sense.
And if you're like a director or manager of a company that's being wound up, or has been in the last 3 years, that suggests financial instability, maybe mismanagement, also disqualifying.
Right, you don't want someone handling other people's goods or money if their own finances are shaky.
Exactly. But here's the really fascinating part. The act goes beyond just convictions. It looks at current associations through intelligence.
Criminal intelligence. In the licensing law.
Yes. Section 82A. This is critical. You can be disqualified if the secretary has reasonable grounds to believe, based on intel from the police commissioner that you're a member of, or regularly hang out with members of, a declared criminal organization.
Wow, that's significant.
It is. And the link has to be plausible. Like, the relationship suggests that improper conduct furthering the group's criminal activities is likely if you get the license.
So they're trying to prevent these businesses from becoming essentially fronts for organized crime, fencing stolen goods and whatnot?
Precisely. It's proactive, trying to cut off that pathway at the administrative level before a crime even happens.
Okay, and the license itself, it's tied to a specific place, right?
Very tightly. Section 12, 12A, you have to nominate all your business premises, even storage spots, to the secretary. And you can only operate from those approved locations.
What if you move or get a new storage unit?
You have to notify the secretary within 14 days. That physical link is vital for oversight and, well, police accountability.
Okay, so you've passed the checks, got the license, found your spot. Now, how does the law control the day-to-day, the actual transactions?
Right, the focus shifts from who you are to how you operate, and it starts with clear definitions.
Defining pawning.
Yes, Section 3A. Pawning is when goods are taken as security for a loan. But crucially, the law says you have to look at the substance of the loan transaction rather than its form.
The classic loophole closure. Don't care what you call it. If it looks like a pawn, it's a pawn.
Exactly. And Section 5 tackles a really common one. The sale with a buyback option.
Right, where someone sells you something but has the right to buy it back later.
The Act says, nope, that's legally a pledge and a loan. And the difference between the selling price and the buyback price, that's treated as the interest.
So you can't dodge the pawnbroking rules just by calling it a sale. Forces transparency.
Total transparency. And that transparency extends to the person walking the door. Before a licensee accepts anything, Section 15 kicks in. Big ID checks.
What do they need?
They have to get proper documentary proof of identity, name, and address. The specific types are set out in the regulations. That's step 1.
And step 2?
Step 2 is critical for crime fighting. The licensee must not accept goods if they have reasonable grounds to believe the goods aren't actually the property of the person offering them.
That's a big responsibility. It basically makes the dealer a sort of first line of defense. They can't just turn a blind eye if something seems fishy.
Correct. They have to actively assess the situation. But maybe the biggest mechanism, the one that really deters theft, is the mandatory retention period. Section 21.
Ah, the famous 14-day hold.
That's the one. Non-negotiable. Any secondhand goods they buy or receive, they have to keep them for at least 14 days, starting from when the purchase was recorded.
And during those 14 days?
They can't do anything with them, can't alter them, can't sell them, can't let the pawner redeem them if it was a pawn that somehow fell under this rule too. Nothing.
14 days doesn't sound like a huge amount of time, but I suppose in a fast-moving business.
It's massive. Think about the storage space, the tracking required. It's all designed to give police a crucial window to potentially trace stolen items before they vanish back into the market.
Okay, and what if the dealer does suspect something's wrong with the goods? Maybe they look stolen.
Then Section 19 applies. They have a legal duty. The licensee or even an employee must report that suspicion to an authorized officer like the police without delay.
And does the law give them hints about what should make them suspicious?
It does. Suspicion is actually presumed if a unique identifier on the item, a serial number, a hallmark, something like that, has clearly been removed, scratched off, or altered. That's a huge red flag.
Got it. So the whole system relies on tracking and accountability, which means records are key.
Absolutely. Section 16 covers record keeping. Everything has to be recorded, usually electronically now, must be in English, kept for 3 years.
And who checks these records?
Authorized officers have broad powers. Police, investigators from the Secretary's office or fair trading, they can enter the premises, inspect goods, demand to see the records immediately. Section 17, Section 20.
So it's designed to make it very hard to hide anything dodgy.
Exactly. The paper trail or the digital trail needs to be impeccable.
Okay, those rules cover all secondhand dealers. But for pawnbrokers, specifically the ones actually lending money against goods, there are even more rules, right? Especially around consumer protection.
Yes, this is where the focus really shifts to protecting the person pawning the goods, who might be financially vulnerable. It starts with the paperwork.
The pawn ticket.
The pawn ticket, exactly. Section 28, it's basically a copy of the pledge record, and it has to be incredibly detailed.
What kind of details?
Well, a fair description of the goods, obviously, including any serial numbers or key components, but crucially, it needs the total amount lent, the interest rate being charged.
Okay.
And this is important, the equivalent annual interest rate.
The APR. So you can compare it easily. Understand the true cost over a year.
Precisely. Plus, the redemption period has to be stated clearly, and an itemized list of all possible fees and charges, even ones that might come out of the sale price later if the item isn't redeemed.
No hidden surprises.
That's the goal. Total transparency on cost.
Okay, so how long does someone actually have to get their stuff back? What's the minimum redemption period?
The minimum is 3 months, Section 29. That can be extended if both sides agree.
And what happens after 3 months if they haven't paid?
Here's the really consumer-friendly part. Even after the 3 months are up, the goods can still be redeemed, right up until the moment they are actually sold or sent off to auction.
So the pawnbroker can't just say, "Time's up," on day 91 and sell it immediately.
Nope. The right to redeem continues until the final disposal.
And what about interest if someone is late? Do they get hammered with extra charges?
No, the Act stops that. Section 32B. After the official redemption period ends, interest is not chargeable anymore.
Really? No more interest accrues?
Correct. And they can't hit you with a special late redemption fee either, or suddenly jack up the storage or safekeeping rates.
That seems quite protective. Okay, but eventually, if the loan isn't repaid, the goods have to be sold. How does that work?
Right. If the original loan amount, the principal, was over a certain amount set by regulations, and the goods are unredeemed, the pawnbroker has a duty. Section 30. They must sell the goods in a manner conducive to securing the best price reasonably obtainable.
Which usually means?
Usually means a public auction. To ensure a fair market price is achieved, they can't just sell it cheap to, say, a mate.
And this leads to maybe the fairest part. What happens if the item sells for more than what was owed?
Ah, yes, the surplus proceeds. Section 31. This really shows the pawnbroker is acting almost like an agent for the pawner at this point.
How does it work?
If the sale price is more than the loan principal, plus the interest owed, plus any legitimate costs of the sale, that leftover money, the surplus proceeds, must be paid back to the original pawner.
The person who pawned the item gets the extra cash.
Yes, they have 12 months to claim it.
And does the pawnbroker have to tell them?
They do, Section 31A. Unless the surplus is tiny, less than $50 currently, the pawnbroker has to send the pawner a notice within 21 days of a sale telling them how much they can claim.
Wow, that's quite an administrative task, tracking people down to give them money back.
It absolutely is. It reinforces that the ultimate financial interest in that asset still partly rests with the original owner, even after they defaulted.
Okay, but what about when things go wrong? Like, truly wrong. Stolen goods turn up at a shop. The shop owner bought them thinking they were legitimate, followed the rules, but they're actually stolen.
Right, that happens. And the Act has a specific process for it. The restoration notice, Section 32F.
How does that get triggered?
If the claimant believes their stolen goods are now with a licensee, they need to go to the police. They provide a formal statement and proof of ownership.
And if the police are convinced?
If the police officer thinks the claim looks legitimate, they serve a restoration notice on the licensee holding the goods.
Okay, so the shop gets official notice. What happens then?
A clock starts ticking. The licensee has 28 days, the required period. They have two choices. Either hand the goods over to the claimant or the police. Or, if they dispute the claim, maybe they think they have good title, they have to start proceedings before the tribunal.
The tribunal.
The Civil and Administrative Tribunal, the CIT, Section 32G. It acts as the referee in these ownership disputes.
And what can the CIT decide?
They can order the goods be given to the rightful owner, or, and this is interesting, under Section 32G4, they might let the licensee keep the goods, but order them to pay compensation, the assessed value, to the rightful owner.
Huh. So the owner gets compensated, but the dealer, if they acted in good faith, might get to keep the item if they pay for it.
Exactly. It tries to balance the interests of the true owner with the licensee who might have bought the item legitimately as far as they knew.
Okay. Lastly, what about disciplinary action against a licensee if they're just bad operators, even without a specific court conviction?
The Secretary has powers there too, Section 34. It's the administrative hammer, the show cause notice. The Secretary can issue a notice demanding the licensee explain why their license shouldn't be suspended or canceled.
And what triggers that?
Various things. Contravening the Act, obviously, employing someone who is disqualified, or, importantly, carrying on the business in a dishonest or unfair manner.
Dishonest or unfair, that sounds broad. Does the Act give examples?
It does, which is helpful. Section 34(3). A notice might follow if the Secretary suspects the licensee is probably receiving or dealing in stolen goods.
And how would they judge that?
Well, the Act gives an example. Finding stolen goods in their custody is one thing. But also, if they're buying, say, one or more types of household item in quantities exceeding what an ordinary householder might reasonably be expected to have acquired from the same person in a short time.
So if someone keeps bringing in stacks of, like, DVD players or power tools every week.
Exactly. That pattern suggests they might be knowingly fencing stolen property. The law is looking for behavior that doesn't fit legitimate trading.
And all these potential breaches, they add up, right? There's a point system.
Yep. The demerit point scheme. Section 27. Certain offenses under the Act carry demerit points. If a licensee racks up 12 or more points within a 3-year period,
Trouble.
that automatically becomes grounds for the Secretary to issue a show cause notice. It's an escalating system of compliance.
Okay, so pulling it all together,
Yeah,
this Act creates quite a multi-layered system.
definitely.
You've got really strict checks at the door who gets a license, including that criminal intelligence check. Then you have mandatory ID verification and that crucial 14-day hold to stop immediate resale of potentially stolen goods.
Right, buffers against crime.
Plus, really strong transparency rules for pawnbroking customers, the detailed tickets, the interest caps, the guaranteed return of surplus money.
And mechanisms to sort out ownership disputes and discipline bad actors.
It's a fascinating example, isn't it, of a regulator trying to manage a business that serves a real need short-term loans, a market for used goods, but also carries significant risks.
It absolutely is. And it does it by placing a pretty heavy burden on the licensee. Think about it. They have to be expert record keepers, secure warehouse managers, sometimes auctioneers, even financial administrators chasing down old customers for surplus funds.
That complexity really forces a certain level of professionalism and compliance, I suppose.
That seems to be the intent.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is to consider this balance. The Act tries to let legitimate, quick transactions happen, because that's the point of pawnbroking, but also build in enough checks and delays to make it harder for these businesses to become partners, accidentally or deliberately, in crime.
It's a regulatory tightrope. How much administrative control is necessary? What's the cost of that transparency? And who ultimately bears it? This act provides New South Wales's answer to try and minimize the market for stolen goods while protecting consumers.